of good and welfare announcements. First off, we are going to have a couple of announcements to begin.
Hi, I'm Chris Rodenberg, and my son Tim Rodenberg is a union organizer for the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. Ask me, it's a hard one to say, 3299. So if anybody wants something to do in the next day or two, they are having a strike. The UC service and patient care workers are mounting a statewide unfair labor practice strike. November 20th and 21st from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have 99% support from the employees.
Can you just announce if anyone has changed for change? I'm not here.
Oh, wait.
Hospital workers are affected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might have some singles here.
How's the job he does to take over the credit?
Here.
Thank you.
Do you need anything else?
Just announce that. That'd be great.
Charges with her, alleging the university is engaged in a legal bad faith bargain. They have not come to the table. So I plan to be there Thursday. It's picketing. It's basically you show up, they give you a sign, you walk around for a while, and then you go home, you know. So anyway,
You're going to stay at the end of the meeting. If they have questions, they can come and see you.
That. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. One other announcement on behalf of the Friends of the Library. The holiday book sale is Friday and Saturday. Please come and buy all that stuff so my sister doesn't have a heart attack because she runs the sale. And also she wanted to put on the table announcements of the Jane Austen events at the library, which I guess are just bang up lots of fun, and they serve wine at them. So if you want to do a fun thing, you can come and see that. Okay, now we're going to start our official meeting. Okay. Okay, so I forgot my change. Did any of you bring change today? Okay, did somebody tell you where to put it? Okay, great. Okay, I saw this and I thought it was kind of fun, so I just put it up there. I'm sure you're collecting all kinds of similar things, whatever it takes to make us happy, right? So welcome to our club. Are there any people here who have never been to a club meeting before? Oh, quite a few of you. Yay. We would love to hear about why you decided to join us. If you want to stand up and say that. Okay. Can you, who had their hands up? There's some young people back here at this table. Young people, stand up. We love young people. Okay. So tell us how you showed up here. Yeah. Yay. Well, welcome. How about the gentleman up here? How did you show up here?
I also came to sing with Joe Kerr.
Okay.
Came and I was at the pop-up rally.
Okay.
That's why I'm here for you guys.
How many of you came to the pop-up rallies? Yay! Yay! Okay, so we're gonna have some fun times tonight, and also do a little grieving. All right. So first order of business on our agenda let me get the agenda up because I didn't run off enough for everybody. I'm sorry. I just assumed nobody was coming. I actually tried to convince a few people that we should cancel the meeting. But I got overridden. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Okay, because I wasn't sure I could stand up here and not lose it, so anyway, but I'm better now. Please lead us in the pledge, would you, Walt? Thank you.
Ready to begin. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with Israel, with liberty and justice for all. All. Yeah. Okay, we'll see if the orange man can try and change that. Okay. Next thing is we are going to vote on the consent calendar. There's just routine matters on the consent calendar, but we vote on the agenda and adjournment and everything all at once. So I need a motion so Kathy can write down who moved. Stacy moved, who seconded? Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Great, we did all of our business. Okay, pardon? Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm really, having a good night here. All right, so are there any questions about the agenda? Well, I can try and turn up the sound. Hold on. Okay. Okay, somebody from the back of the room will have to go get the guys who run this place up at the front desk because I can't control the sound from here. So,
Fine, you have to be close enough to the mic.
okay, I will try and stand right next to it, okay? All right. Okay, so the next order of business is to talk about the treasurer's report. Ken Johnson is our treasurer. He does a great job. And we're so thankful that he's sticking with it. Ken, do you want to come up and say a few words about it?
Hello. I haven't done the treasurer's report for the crowd for such a long time. I almost forgot how to do it. But as you can see, can you hear me now?
Right, maybe you can raise this thing up but I don't have enough strength to unscrew it. Yeah, get it tall enough for you.
Okay. So we have actually had some ideas on how we are going to end this year. One of the things is that during election years, we tend to bring in a lot of money because we need it to give to candidates. And there's probably another slide we don't have here, but we've given about $34,000. Is it 34? $34,000 to candidates this year. It's really been, you guys have helped.
There it is.
36? Okay, even better. So one of the things is we need to do this, and we need to stockpile some money for the next election. The next election is going to be extremely critical. We're really going to have to, and what we try to do in our club is we focus on the local candidates primarily, and then we go from the local candidates to the congressional, and in some cases we've actually have given to senatorial candidates too, but we've actually given candidates that aren't even in our local area, as you can see. We gave to Derek Tran, who was about 102 votes. And then we got Will Rollins. I don't think he made it.
No.
Over to that one. Unfortunately, I don't think Josh Newman made it either.
Well, not yet, that's for sure.
Oh, is that right? Oh, good. Great, fine. And, George Whiteside did make it actually, so that was good, and Mike Levin, that's Mike Levin. The thinking was that we would actually try to stockpile some money for the next election. And even though we keep quite a bit of money to candidates, as you could see in the previous slide, we have it's actually closer to $29,000 right now. And I just got a check today, I haven't cashed either. So we have a good start. And we want to, and your participation in this club is so vital to making all this stuff work. And it's also good to have such like-minded people talking to each other, and I really enjoy that. So as you can see, we even though we spent so much, and I have to shout out to the field or the fundraising committee. They had with the pop-up booth. And so this is all going to help us in the future here. And I'm glad to see we have a big full crowd today too, because this is very important for us to stay together and not let this defeat knock us on our butts. Let's get out there and fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the folks that are in blue are the people we believe have won, and I'm going to talk more about this later in the meeting during my presentation, so I won't spend a lot of time on it now. But the club board of directors actually made a conscious decision that we needed to support congressional candidates across California, not just in Orange County, but several of them are outside of Orange County, in case the orange man got in. And Don got it, that's what happened. Okay, so we did all of that. The other piece of big business is that you're going to be free of me next year. Yeah, I get to spend a little more time with my grandchildren, so I'm thrilled about that. And we have really good lineup of officers. Whoa, what am I doing here? I'm going crazy. Okay, so the officers that have agreed to, the officers who have agreed to serve are Jen Henry, next year, Suzanne Dennis, I'm sure I said your name wrong again, and Janice Vance and Ken Williams, okay? But we will vote, pardon? I did that on purpose,
Yeah,
didn't I?
you're-
No. Oh, and Ken Williams is such a creepy guy too. I gotta laugh. Okay, we will all be voting on these people at our January meeting, and we have a paper ballot. So you can nominate yourself from the floor, or you can have somebody else nominate you from the floor if you want to. But these folks have agreed to do it. So usually what happens is we pass out the ballots and we just vote everybody in by acclamation. But if you feel strongly that we should have different candidates, we'll hold a Democratic vote. Yes. Oh, yeah, that would be very nice. Yeah. There they are. Yay. I guess you guys can start campaigning for these jobs. Yeah, it's more like, no, you got stuck, you know? Okay, so we're gonna go into committee reports. Anne is coming up. We'll see if you can reach this high, Anne. We may have to adjust it.
Okay, so, when I started this job 8 years ago, we had 40 people in our club. And we've grown a little. And over those years, we've had a few growing pains because we were used to, small group. And now we're a big, powerful group. So that's all because of you. And your membership that you keep renewing every year. And I'm so thankful that we're growing and growing and growing. If you renew now, your membership carries over through 2025. And so I encourage you to do that. You can go to our website and your membership and just sign up very easily in that move. Or if you don't want to do that, there's a place also you can print out the form and fill it in with a check and mail it in to our treasurer. So, and if you have any questions, you can always feel free to email me, anowens@cox.net.
And we have a discount for younger people.
Yes. So if you're under 35, we have a cheaper price for families and young people. So, we want to really encourage you all to fill this facility in the future. I know some of you are kind of down, but, I think Robert writes email in the newsletter every day. And today he says, if you want to do something, you don't quit. You want to be with decent society, you want to be with people who want a decent society, who reject bigotry, who treat people equally and respectfully, who seek social justice, and who keep in mind the common good. All of us need the support and reassurance that come with connection to these kindred souls. And you are those kindred souls.
Right.
So you are the connection that is going to keep us going. And it says, don't be an election-only activist. Practice your activism. Meet regularly in person and online. Hear other stories. Listen to the greeting of others. Know you're not alone on this. And then second, sketch a plan for your activism. So that's what we're going to start doing, is sketching a plan for our activism for the next 2 and the next 4 years. So, yeah, this is the largest our club has ever been. So it's just a wonderful testament to everybody who is really feel like beginning to feel empowered that their voice counts and they can do something. I'm also doing last month I had a bunch of these 64 people last month signed up for Adopt a Child program. And so far I have been given from Families Forward 9 families and 33 kids that I've been shopping. Some people have been shopping, I've been shopping with their money this week. And so I do have a couple of other kids, anybody tonight, I have a couple of little kids that like, cute little stuff, if you want that. I have a kid that needs, don't know about a 11-year-old kid who needs a bike, if anybody's interested in him. And I can always get more kids. So all I have to do is call up Family Forwards and say, send me 3 more kids, and I have them at the end of the day. So if anybody else wants to sign up tonight, just see me at the end of the meeting. Last year, Families Forward gave 700 children a very wonderful Christmas. So it's a really wonderful way for us to give back to the community also.
That's it. Okay. Andy, do you want to talk about? I'm going to talk about the focus groups a little later in my presentation, so we'll go past that. Okay, we were very busy and did a lot of work in the last 6 months or so. How many of you participated either by making packets that were going to go on doors or by spreading doors? Raise your hand if you, yeah, okay. All right, so you see how involved we were. So we dropped literature packets at 26,698 doors. Each one of them had a handwritten note. Each one of them had a handwritten note on the back of our club card, encouraging people to vote. Okay, and we know people pick those up and keep them, and then they send us things on email saying, thank you for giving us who we should vote for again, because we do it every election. Okay, we mailed voter guides to 9,000 homes in gated communities or apartment houses that we couldn't walk. And then thanks to Cindy and the folks who worked on the texting program, We texted 72,000 plus voters, okay? Including right before the election, a kind of emergency text that went out to tell people not to vote for the MAGA school board candidates in our area, which was very successful. So we did a lot, okay? Okay, and the last meeting, when I pointed out the action heroes, I skipped a couple people, and I want to point out that since the election, how many of you in here have been working on ballot curing? Raise your hand. Okay. What that is when somebody's ballot gets mailed in and they forgot to put the date on it, or they forgot to sign their, you know, they, instead of saying Louise C. Adler, they went L. Adler. No, it's got to match. So curing it means that the registrar of voters has to send them a notice. But of course, what do people do with the notice? They put it in the pile, right? And so the candidates like the Tran campaign, the Min campaign, and so on, have been recruiting people to phone them, to knock on their doors, to get them to fix their ballot. So how many of you were able to reach somebody and at least fix one ballot? So the election is not over until December 1st, because people can cure their ballots until December 1st, okay? All right, and then I also forgot at the last meeting to make a special announcement to thank Becky Butler and Eileen Geiger, who did all the background computer work to create the lists on our phones where people were going to go and find MPPs and Democrats to drop off the literature. And it was and also they had to what? I don't think they're here. Okay. But they also had to figure out where the apartments were and make sure that we weren't giving those to walkers. So it was very complicated. So thanks to them, and I feel bad that I left them off the last time. Okay, fundraising. Without the money, we can't do any of that. We have big printing bills. We have to buy tons of paper, rubber bands and staplers, and we can't do that without the money.
Okay, friends. And it's not even over. We're still working. We're still carrying ballots. We're still raising money. Everything's a buck over there. We got a lot of collectors items. You might want to. Someday your friends will. Anyway, we're trying to make sure that we get all of our merchandise out so that people will be able to enjoy it and we won't have to stick to somebody's ad. So our sustaining donor program, thank you, Walt. Again, Walt Lawson, that's his brainchild. So far this year, just from people giving an extra couple of dollars either every month or writing us one check or whatever. And you can give us 5, 10, 100, whatever you got extra over the month. And we've raised a total up till now of an extra $14,445. If you are a sustaining donor, then you can raise your hand. Look at this, look at this. You've got 90 people, not all of them are here, we've got 90. And guess what? In February, we're gonna have a special thank you for you. We're gonna have a special event. And if you become a sustaining donor between now and February, whatever it is.
9th.
We had to change it because we had a venue issue.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be.
Nobody tells me anything.
February night is Super Bowl Sunday. So February 23rd it is. And you'll be receiving information about that. And in the meantime, if you want to join us for this spectacular event, we just say thank you. We don't ask you for any money. Become a sustaining donor between now and then. It's easy. It's right on the website. There's a little button that says, I want to be a sustaining donor. And that blue will take care of everything. I want to send a special thank you
not only to my whole committee, I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but Patty and Rick developed.
Stand up. Woo, woo. Yeah. They only signed up to do 3 of them. And then the people out there made them do the 4th one. Oh my God.
Just amazing. Next up is the annual O'Neill brunch, Richard O'Neill brunch, and that will be on Saturday, December 7th at the Arroyo Toluca Country Club. Please come. You could actually get your phone out right now and go on our website and get a ticket. We also have sponsorships available in different, we've got a representative, a senator, a vice president, and a president level. We decided to change that up a little bit. So if you want to be a sponsor, help us out with offsetting some of the costs of the extra food that is not included in our regular budget, or the cost of the bartender. That's a really important thing. And some of the other stuff that we have to pay out of pocket for, it would be great to have some sponsors. And we're in need of donations for our wine wall. We ask you to bring a bottle of wine that's worth at least $20, and then we'll have a whole collection of them at the event, and you pay the $20 and you get a bottle of wine that's worth at least $2. Sometimes it's considerably more. You might really love it. And then also, we're gonna try and put together some gift cards on a tree or something. We haven't figured out all of this. But if you got some gift cards, sometimes they'll do like an Outback. I think if you buy $50, they give you a $15 one. You can get a $50 donation. So you keep the extra $15 one and give us another 25. Also, at Costco, they have the 2-for-1s. So if you would be generous and do that, we would appreciate that a lot. And no, then we have 2 chairs and a sweatshirt left over from the pop-ups. So if you were at the pop-ups and you forgot to take a chair home or your sweatshirt, we've got it over there. And then I want to say a heartfelt thanks to everybody who worked on my committee, my team. We love each other. We get along so well. We take each other out for our birthdays. It's terrific. So I would like them to all stand up, and I'd like you to give my fundraising team a special. We've done our best to raise as much money as possible to support our candidates. So looking forward to working with you again in the new year. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what happened was we had recruited this professor from the law school at UCI and advertised it. And then he got COVID. And we said, oh, well, it's a week away, I mean, he'll be fine. And then it got closer and I said, well, tell him we could put it on Zoom and that would be okay. Because we figured he'd be up and around. Well, we couldn't really get in touch with him very well. And it turned out he wasn't coming any which way. So Janet, Henry, and I were on the phone talking about it and thought about what we needed to do to think about where we are now and where we need to go. So I worked on that a bit. So I'm going to go over to my computer and pull up a different PowerPoint here and talk about that. So I'm going to become your speaker. Okay. You're going to see how crazy my desktop is. Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay, there's no getting around it. The news was pretty bad. You know, a bunch of us wouldn't even go to parties or anything that night because we'd been through the Hillary night and we didn't want to go through another one of those. You know, so Republicans had a good night, a damn good night, and they're very happy. They've got the trifecta, although they're hanging on to the House by their fingernails. A lot of issues we care about. I particularly worried about what's going to happen in the environment. My daughter is the chief lobbyist for the League of Conservation Voters, and she's grinding her teeth every day about it. So we know it's really, really bad. We worked hard and we lost. And we feel like hiding in bed and not pulling and not taking the covers off our head, put the pillow over our head, and just feel completely crappy. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of you had those feelings. Where it's like the stages of grief, we're going to get through it. And we can spend all our time being angry and pissed off. Or we can think about what's next. So we can at least remind our neighbors that Harris won Orange County. Yeah. The supposed Republican, you know, bastion in Orange County. And it's not the first time the Democrat has won. Biden won also. I think he won by more, but, you know, we'll learn more about that as we go along. So, you know, the old saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I looked it up on Google, and it says that these terms capture a sense of looking back and express frustration over choices that were made or not made. There are a lot of theories and excuses, etc. But it may be too soon to carefully analyze and get information from experts. It is too soon. So people that are telling you, tell the Democrats to do this and they would have won, or tell them not to do that other thing, okay? Even the experts aren't ready really to do that kind of analysis, okay? And then there's the other question of, so we spend all of our time looking back and analyzing it. And what do we find out? Does it help us move forward? So I get the Cook Political Report because I'm a political junkie. It's one of the premier outfits that does campaign and candidate analysis. And they said in their recent report, which was 2 days ago, we're flying somewhat blind in understanding exactly who voted. For example, while the Trump campaign focused extensively on turning out low propensity or infrequent voters, we don't know yet if those who showed up fit that description. We also know that Democrats counted on their anti-Trump base, made up of voters who joined the electorate post-2016, counted on them to show up again in this election. It looks obvious they stayed home. But we won't know these details until next spring, when the state voter files are officially updated and Pew releases a validated survey of voters, and Catalyst releases its own analysis of the voter file data. All this to say, we should be prepared to revise some of our assumptions about who did and didn't vote and why. So I don't have any answers for you about that. I'm sorry, you can leave now if that's what you're waiting for, because you ain't gonna get it, okay? We should also be careful about our focus on the past. There was an article in last Sunday's New York Times by Adam Grant, and he said, especially in times of great anxiety, it can be all too tempting and all too dangerous to convince ourselves that the future is just as visible as the past. It isn't. The average expert is roughly accurate as a dart-throwing chimpanzee, okay? So people that are telling you they know what went wrong or what went right for Trump. They're the chimpanzees with the darts, okay? Anyway, people who do manage to anticipate extreme events are usually just lucky, not smart. They overweigh unlikely scenarios and miss the mark on probable outcomes. In the heat of the moment, we over-index on our anguish today and underestimate our capacity to adapt to tomorrow. We may be mourning the death of our hopes and dreams, but it is temporary. In the worst of times, embracing uncertainty proves liberating. It reminds us how quickly fortunes can change. Okay, so we have to hold on to that fortunes can change. You can't change the past. So I love this old saying, I believe it comes from AA. Let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can change. We can change the future. So we are going to choose to be future focused, okay? Because it's too soon to do the backward looking analysis. And you're going to have like 10,000 versions of who says what happened. And you know what? That doesn't change one bit the work we have to do in the future. We have great resources in our club. We have many friends who share our values and our dedication. Look around the room. If you don't know the other people at the table, get to know them, because we're going to be at these tables until we win this thing, okay? We're not going to give up, okay? We have a strong membership base, and we have local community focus groups. We have a healthy bank account, and we have the knowledge and skills to win campaigns, okay? So we're going to use all of that to move into the future. So I have a little quiz for you. These are all people that we supported with our money in the club. And I want to see if you know who they are. Okay. So I'm going to highlight, let's see. No, don't do that. Now my little thing here should be working. Why is it not working? Okay, starting on your upper left. Who is the upper left? Good for you. Oh, and on the next one over, that's Derek Tran. And the next one over, Susie, stand up, Susie. Oh my God, what have I done? Yeah, okay. All right, and the next one over next to Susie? George Whitesides with an S on the end. It took me forever to learn that. And then on the lower left, yes, Krista Castellanos from the Capistrano Unified School District. She has the Aliso Viejo District. Okay, and in the middle, Ryan Dack is on the South Orange County Community College Board. Okay, and he's gotten reelected and he has good numbers and he is a bright, shiny penny, I'm telling you. Okay, and then in the lower right, right. And we gave all of these people money, okay? Okay, pardon? They all won, yes. Okay, I got an email, and it's not a privilege, I'm sure you were all getting them too, from Hakeem Jeffries. He was probably sending emails to people in cemeteries to try and get money. Okay. So the fact that he called me by my first name is not any great thing, but I really liked what he said. He said, Louise, hi, it's the Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries. I want to share my thoughts on the election with you. In an adverse election climate, that's putting it mildly, House Democrats exceeded expectations, re-elected at least 27 of our 31 frontline incumbents. These were incumbents they had to keep and win, okay? One of the incumbents is still too close to call, as we know, and we successfully defended 4 competitive open districts and flipped at least 8 Republican-held seats. The House Democrats gave it our all, running dynamic, forward-looking, and people-centered campaigns, while we fell just a few seats short of regaining control of Congress in January. We managed to hold Republicans to a razor-thin majority, and in an unprecedented outcome in a so-called presidential wave election. So, okay, he's gilding the lily a little bit here, but it really is very good news, because guess what? Trump is recruiting people out of the House to put in the government, which opens up seats, which we can go and try and win. So, yay, go for it, Donald. Okay, and Susie Schwartz is a really good example of the impact of the club, and also the fact that Susie worked her ass off, okay? She worked really hard, and she started early. She didn't like waltz in at the last minute, and she committed herself to running a really tough campaign. And you can really see the difference between her numbers and those of the other 2 people who were elected to the board. And none of the MAGA people won. We kept all the MAGA people off our board. But you can see Susie did exceptionally well. And by the time it's done, she may be up to 60% of the vote, because I copied this a few days ago, okay? She got over 1,000 more votes than either Sparks or Amanda Morell, and they were NPPs and Republicans, okay? So she got more votes, way more votes than the Republican candidate in another district, okay? So I think you can see the impact of running a good campaign and having the support of the club, okay? And part of that support was giving money to her so she could buy what she needed for her campaign, okay? So we have essentially secured the Saddleback board for until not just 2026, but 2028. It could not flip MAGA back, okay? Now, would I prefer that all of the 3 people who got elected were Democrats? Hell yes. But I'm happy to take these people over the alternative, which was really ugly. Okay, so our club, and since I'm glad I put this in because so many of you are new, our club is home for voters in all of these areas. All of the canyon areas, Trabuco, Santiago, Majestica, Dove Canyon, Foothill Ranch, Rancho Santa Margarita, Coto de Caza, Las Flores, Ladera Ranch, Laguna Hills, Lake Forest, and Mission Viejo. We cover a lot of the county. Okay, I once drove from where Linda May lives out in Santiago Canyon all the way down to one of our members who lived in Nelligale. It took me 3/4 of an hour. Okay, it's a big territory that we cover. In our territory, we have 6 water districts, 3 school districts, including the college district, 4 cities, 8 unincorporated areas, 2 state senate districts, and 2 assembly districts. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, it's probably covering more geography than any other club in Orange County. In fact, I know it is. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk about what we need to do in the next few years to be future focused. Okay, so we will have an election in 2026 where we will have to defend all of these House seats that we just won. They have to do it again every 2 years. So congressional candidates never really stop campaigning. You know, they go back to Washington and all of that, but they're gonna, I can tell you right now that Mike Levin's guy, Adam Berkowitz, is already planning for 2026. Okay, so we're gonna have a United States Senate seat up in 2026. And in 2028, God bless, we're gonna have a presidential election. Okay, so we have a lot of work to do. So water districts, I always start with the water districts. People who know me in the club know this. I've been on a crusade for years because nobody paid attention to water districts. But we spend a lot of money. They all have boards. They have, you know, 5 people, 7 people. All of them get a stipend for being on it. They get per diem when they go to meetings. So we're spending a lot of our tax dollars supporting all these wee teeny little districts like the Otero Water District up there in the middle, the pink, and the Trabuco Canyon Water District. They're all really small in comparison to the Irvine Ranch Water District, which is really large, okay? So, but we can elect people, we can elect Democrats to all of these water districts. And that will begin to get them to understand how to run for office. And it creates a bench for later when we need assembly candidates and other kind of candidates. People can go from the water board to another position. So we need to really pay attention to this. The other thing is they're mostly men, okay? So we need to fix that. And guess what? A lot of them work for other water agencies, okay? So it's very incestuous. The point of having a public board is to put the public on it, not your buddy who works over in the other water district, which is what they've been doing for years. It's a thing with me, okay? So we need, but we can, running a campaign in a water district is pretty easy because some of them are so small. You can actually, in one day, walk to all the houses, okay? We also have the Metropolitan Water District, which the local water districts are the retailers. They sell you the water. So you get a bill from them. You don't get a bill from the Metropolitan Water District because they're selling the water to the local water districts, okay? But we can elect people to these. We had a good candidate this time. He didn't make it, but we can have, there are open seats here that we can compete for. So we have a lot of work to do. So I'm just going to tell you what I think the work is. We need to confirm which communities are served by which water district. Because people will say to me, well, oh, I live in Lake Forest, but is it this water district or that water district? Somebody's got to get a handle on all that, okay, for our club. So we know which communities, which precincts are in which water districts, okay? We need to determine who's already on the boards and identify which seats are up for election in 26 and 28. And we need to work with our community focus groups to make sure that our club members know about the water districts and what's going on. And, you know, if you read anything about the environment, one of the big problems we're going to have over the next 10, 15, 20 years is water, okay? And these water districts are right in the middle of it, okay? They don't pay much attention to it, though. Irvine Ranch does, but the rest of them don't. We have to identify the important issues that need to be addressed by the water boards, and then we need to recruit people in our club to help the candidates run their campaigns, okay? And that's retail politics, you know, knocking on doors, sending texts, dropping off literature. Then we have school boards. We have 3 of them. We have a piece of the Capistrano School District that runs along the southeast side of, what's the big road? No. It's right out here, Marguerite Parkway. Okay, so it's the southeast side of Marguerite Parkway. And then there's Saddleback Unified, which has 5 districts that cover our territory. Okay. And then there's the Community College District. Rhinebeck is in Area 5. There's an NPP sitting in Area 7. Jamal, who's been elected several times. Nice guy, but he's not a Democrat. So I would like to find a Democrat to run. So in school districts, we have similar kind of work. Confirm which communities are served by which school district. Where are the lines? Determine who's already on the school board. Identify which seats are up for election in 26 and 28. We're going to have 3 seats up in Saddleback, right? 2 next time, okay? And identify which seats are up in which years. Work with the community focus groups to make the club members aware of who's running and where, and identify important issues, and recruit members to help with campaigns. All of that work has to get done. We have 4 city councils, okay? Lake Forest, which just started voting by districts, and the last election, only 1 person filed in each of the 2 open seats, so there was no election, so they were automatically elected. And neither one of them were Democrats. If we'd had a Democratic candidate, it could have been a competitive race, but we didn't have a candidate. Rancho Santa Margarita. I know the folks out who live in Rancho Santa Margarita have been tearing their hair out to try and get control of what's going on out there. But again, that's another city where we have a lot of strength in our volunteer base. So it's just a matter of time before we can make it happen. And then there's Mission Viejo, which not this year, but 2 years ago, we worked like the dickens on it. And the way the lawsuit was settled, they ended up having all 5 seats be up in 2026. So some of the people are going to have to be in 2-year seats and some of the people in 4-year seats, but we're going to have 5 competitive races in Mission Viejo. So strap in, Mission Viejo people, you know, we got our work cut out for us. And the city of Laguna Hills doesn't have a map yet up on their website. I believe they just formed voting districts. I could be wrong, but they don't have it on the website. So already we know we have information we need to get. Okay, so for city councils, it's a similar kind of work. Confirm the boundaries of the districts. How does it overlap? And we want to find districts, we want to find places where we've got school board, community college, school board candidates all running in the same area. Because then when we walk those precincts, we're hitting all 3 of those or all 4 of those. Those are really high value precincts, okay? So we want to determine who's already there, identify which seats are up for elections in which year, work with our community focus groups, identify important issues, and recruit club members to help run. And then we're going to have a governor's race in 2026. And there are a zillion candidates already talking about running, including Katie Porter, okay, and Betty Yee, and Eleni Kounalakis, and who else? And possibly Kamala, yes. So it's going to be, you know, a crazy time. Now, for us as a club, and I think I put the word endorsed on a lot of these to-do lists, the club can only work with the endorsed candidate, okay? So at the local level, like at the school board, the endorsement is done by the Orange County Department, by the Democratic Party of Orange County. But we have members who are on the central committee. So we are able to influence how that comes out. But we cannot support or work for a candidate who is not endorsed or who is not a Democrat. Okay, so which makes it a little weird when we have people, there's no Democrat running, there's like 2 Republicans. So then we say, don't vote for one of them, which means the other person gets the vote, right? Okay, so it's a little strange, but that's the only constraint on what we can do. Okay, so we have 2 state Senate districts. Newman is in 37, trying to win that one, but we're also next time up, I believe we'll have 38, but I could be wrong, but I think so. Okay, so somebody's going to have to come, and that 38 has like RSM, Mission Viejo, and Laguna Hills. Okay, and then we have 2 assembly districts, and we really got messed up when they drew, when that commission drew the boundaries. And you could talk to Gary. Gary, raise your hand. Gary ran for number 71. But they really chopped it up because we're stuck with these people all the way across the Ortega and down into Riverside County. Okay. But we have no Democratic incumbents, so we need to get Democratic incumbents in there. Okay. So we have state work that needs to be done, confirming the bound. If somebody has to learn the boundaries of every one of these districts, because that's how we know where to walk. Okay. Determine who's already in the office, identify which seats are up when, collaborate with the state and local party to support the candidates and recruit people to work on the campaigns. And then we have national offices. The US Senate will be up in 2026. We will again have congressional seats up, and the president will be up, okay, in 2028. So we have a lot of work to do. So these are the districts that we have in our area. Most of our club is covered by the 40th, which was the seat Joe Kerr was trying to win, okay? And so that one will be up again in 2 years. So we can do it all again. So similar kind of work. Where are the boundaries? Who already holds the seats? Identify which seats are up for election when, collaborate with state and national party, and recruit people to work on campaigns. That's a lot of campaigns. I mean, if everybody in this room worked on 1 or 2 things, we wouldn't have enough people to figure it all out. So we have to make some choices here. Okay. So Marty came up with this idea that what we need to think about is that the 2026 election is 713 days away. So we have 713 days to do all of this, okay? So we have a lot of work to do, okay? Now, we're going to do the countdown at every meeting, okay? So how is the club organized to do all this? It's a little frantic-y, but we have a structure, and it has worked pretty well. A lot of the work that gets done contacting voters is done by the field team, which is a committee. It's a group of people who've agreed to serve, and we figure out how to do these things. So when we needed to figure out how to use PDI, which was the database that you use to contact voters, we recruited somebody from the Levin campaign to come up here and give us some lessons, okay? So whatever we don't know how to do, we figure out how to find somebody who can teach it to us, okay? So the field team put together the packets, the field team recruited the people to go out and put them on doors, et cetera, okay? And but we also have focus groups. These are kind of more informal groups in each one of the communities. And Andy, raise your hand, Andy. Andy kind of organizes this for the board. And so we have focus group persons in each of these areas identified. And if you, I will show you the names here in a second, okay? So they do really fun things, like Andy has quarterly meetups at a restaurant to have drinks and hors d'oeuvres. And other focus groups, Walt has done things with, and where's Kathy? Kathy, where are you? Kathy has been doing the Mission Viejo one. So that's another way we find out what's going on in the community and who's involved, and getting all the intel, the scuttlebutt on who's running, who's not running, who's thinking about it. Are they a good person, not a good person, etc. So we need you, everybody in this room, to take action. Because if you just come and listen to us and leave, that's fine. Great if you become a member, great, we get your money. But we need you to be effective. We need you to do more than that, okay? So there's easy stuff, like paying your dues, so we have money. Passing along the club newsletter to friends. We email out the newsletter. Attending fundraising events and bringing a friend. Those are easy things to do. Okay? A little harder, become a monthly sustaining donor. Volunteer to help at a club event. And recruit a friend to join the club and have them pay dues. So it's a little like a pyramid scheme, like the old Tupperware parties used to be, where you drag your friends into it. Yeah. And then there's big steps, like joining a committee. So you'll have to go to meetings and you'll have to take on a role. So you can agree to drop literature off on doors. If you don't want to go to meetings, but if you give me a list, I'll get that literature on the doors. I can do that, okay? You could hold a meet and greet for the candidate. So you open up your house, you send out little notice, print a little notice, give it out to the neighbors and friends, and you say, come on over and meet Dave Min, okay? I went to a meet and greet for Dave Min where the hostess and I were the only two people there. And you know what? Dave was so smart and so gracious. He sat on the couch and he did his whole thing. And you know what? That lady still comes to things and is still involved in the club, okay? I mean, he treated her so respectfully. I mean, it was like, be still my heart. But yeah, but you know what? He got a lot out of that meeting, So you can have a meet and greet with more people and you didn't connect the way he connected that day, let me tell you, okay? Okay, so here are the people who are heading up our committees. So if you think you might be interested in one of these committees, here are the names, okay? And this is on your agenda at every meeting, okay? Now, there are some people here who have forms for you to fill out. So with those people who I gave forms to, Gary, now is the time. Pass them out. Okay, so the idea here is we want you to put your name on this piece of paper and we want to know what you think you might want to do, okay? Could we, here, I'll do some too, because we need to go quickly. I mean, if you're a committee chair or a regular with the club, you don't need to figure this out. But everybody else needs to fill one out. So what I would like you to do is to please fill it out and leave it on the table when you get ready to go. And at the bottom, At the bottom of the form, and if I run out, because I only ran 120, thinking that we wouldn't have a big crowd, you can always turn your agenda over and just write your name and phone number and your city and email on the back of the agenda, and you can answer these questions, okay? Okay, now, I've been talking a long time. What I want to do now is see if people have brief questions or comments. I'd be happy to entertain that. Yes, Kathy.
I had a question from one of my focus group members. And the question was, Orange County is still counting votes because they're still curing ballots. They had more ballots to cure than even LA County, and this person wanted to know why. So I'm hoping that Louise can enlighten us on that.
It depends on how the registrar of voters set up the screening process for when the mail-in ballots come in, okay? We may have more, one thing that may happen is we may have more people using the mail-in ballots. That's one thing. The other thing is that for new voters, like some of our folks over here, our young folks, they're not as used to this idea that you have a formal signature. It's like the signature you use with your bank when you go through escrow, you know, and it's the same signature no matter where you use it. So when they registered to vote, they didn't pay much attention when it said signature. They just put something down. So I could be Louise Cromwell Adler, or I could be L.C. Adler, or I could be Louise Adler. But whatever I put on the voter registration form, the same signature has to be on the envelope. So if it's not the same signature, or I changed how I was writing it, for example, I fell and broke my elbow. So I had my ballot marked and sitting on my desk for 2 weeks while I waited to get the cast off so I could sign it. Because I knew if I signed it the way I was writing, they would never accept it, okay? So those are things that can happen. Yes.
So I work at both centers, so I know that we have an inordinate amount of provisional ballots. Which, so we had a lot of provisional ballots at our vote center. And that was mostly from people that were new voters. So young people, new citizens, or people who had never voted before. They came in at 60 years old and wanted to register to vote. So they fill out this large envelope that's red. We put it into the system, give them a ballot, put it into the envelope, and it goes off. And so not only are they, so they're treating it like a registration, which means they have to send back a form, just like you do when you fill out when you originally registered, and they wanted you to confirm your address, confirm your signature. So that's all being done before they even open the ballot or open the envelope and do it. And like I said, we have 20, 30 of them every single day. So if you multiply that by the 200 in Orange County, yeah.
So that's an additional problem on top of the one with the mail-in ballot not matching the signature. These are people who weren't registered to vote, who walked in on election day and said, I want to vote. So they register them, but it's provisional. So they have to set aside those ballots, check the registration, and then only count it if the registration goes through. Okay, because they will match up the signature on the voter registration form with your driver's license registration form, okay? So they're very careful about it, and it may be that we had more of those provisional ballots, especially at UCI, okay? God bless the young folks, because they were deciding they wanted to vote for Dave Min. Oh, Dave, we know Dave, he's the professor over there, da-da-da-da, we're gonna vote for him, and not vote back in Florida or wherever. So then we had those provisional ballots, okay? Also, Paige has only been our registrar of voters for a couple years. So he's relatively new to Orange County, and I think he's a little more rigid than the last guy we had, would be my guess. But not bad, but just different. Yeah. Any other questions? Wow. Yes. Right. 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 Well, the amount of money we gave Joe Kerr was exactly the same amount that we gave all the other congressional candidates. We gave the maximum amount our club could give, okay? Because it's like you as an individual, there's a maximum amount you can give. Yes, Janet. Right,
Right.
right. Well, right. Well, let me explain what the DCCC is, okay? And there's a DSCC too. That's the DCCC stands for Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, okay? They are a PAC, and they control a lot of money, okay? And they made decisions about where to spend that money, where they had the best chance of winning, okay? Young Kim, although she's a Republican, she had worked for a congressman in North Orange County for years, running his offices. So she runs a very good community outreach office to anybody who has a problem with the federal government in some way, okay? And she looked like a very strong candidate. So the DCCC made decisions to put money in other places, not in Joe Kerr. Okay, now they may have given him some, I don't know. But big donors, it's like, it's really ironic. It's like when you go to the bank and you ask for a loan and they say, well, we can't give you a loan because you don't have much money, right? Yeah, well, it's the same problem. If you have money and you have a lot of support and you have that backing, then they're more likely to invest in your campaign. It's just a hard truth. Right. Right, exactly. Right. Right. You're absolutely right, Barb. They make a holistic decision. And it's, if you get the money, you feel really good about it. And I know in the beginning, Joe had conversations with them because I asked him if he'd been in touch with them. And he said, yes, he had. But I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked at his reports, but I'm pretty sure they didn't give him much, if anything. So he was struggling uphill, God bless him. Yes. Right. Yeah, we don't want that to happen again. Yes, you're absolutely right. So, but see, part of the problem is we get busy and there's a limited bandwidth, we have to sleep, we have to, take care of our families. But my hope is that with our growing membership, we will have more people. So there'll be somebody like you who will say, okay, I want to focus on these water districts. This is not right, and then we will have more information. And I'm trying to talk about it now so that right after the first of the year, we can all get to work. Okay. Not wait until, 3 months before the election when everybody goes, oh, who should we be supporting? Oh, run here, run there. No. We need to be better organized than that. So, yes, in the back. Right. Yeah, that's right. 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 Everything you're saying is God's truth. Right. Well, if you sent it in the mail and it went through, you're fine. And I stood up here and I said, you guys, you can track your ballot. You sign up online, and it tells you your ballot has arrived, your ballot has been counted. And if you have a problem, they get in touch with you right away. So we try to get people to do that. But the truth is that when it comes to the board recommending to the club who to give money to, we make some hard choices. There were some people, like a particular assembly candidate who was running in our area, we didn't give any money to because the assessment was she had no chance of winning. And it would be just kind of, throwing the money away. And sometimes we give money to people we don't expect to win, but who we hope will eventually, in a subsequent election, become a better candidate and particularly if they're like in our club or in our area. Okay. Yes. Right. Joe kept the money that she spent on her own campaign did not go to these other places because she could have been giving money to Whiteside's opponent and Rollins' opponent and Min's opponent and so on. And she's one of the leaders in California in the Republican caucus. Okay. So yeah. On the other hand, if you have a problem with Social Security, you go to her office, it gets fixed. And I know that personally. Okay. And they don't ask you what your party registration is either. So, yeah. So she gets it, she gets it done. And, it's hard to dislodge somebody like that. So probably, I feel bad for Joe, but, he took one for the team. Yeah. I know. I know. No, no, we gave Joe money and we walked. How many of you put Joe Current literature on doors? Okay, yeah. So we did everything we could do. But you win some, you lose some. Yeah. Like our former chair, Gary Gephardt, we didn't even give a dime to him. Yeah. Yeah, I know, I know, I know. Well, you know, the party, the county party and the state party want a Democrat running in every race. Okay, so they recruit people like Gary and say, and they guilt him into doing it. You know, and so they think it's important to have a Democrat in every race. I think I mean, Gary's an outstanding individual and an outstanding candidate. Sometimes they have recruited people who I don't think they should have recruited. It would be better to have an empty seat than to have somebody who is, you know, not really who we want representing us as a candidate. Andy and I turned down a candidate for city council who was a Democrat. We met him 2 times and we went, oh, yee, yeah, yeah, no, no, no. Yes, ma'am, in the back. I can't hear too well. Well, it depends on the club, okay? Different clubs make different decisions, okay? Some clubs have a heavier focus on, say, environmental issues or other issues. We have not done that. Doesn't mean we couldn't. And, you know, in a sense, I think we pick supporting people like for school board who share our vision of what education should be. But we're not like passing resolutions and sending out you know, letters to the editor and stuff like that. Because, you know, those things are really nice. And like my daughter's a lobbyist for an environmental group, so I have an affinity for that. But it's not something the board or the members have taken on. That's all. Yeah, oh yeah. Right. And for example, Ann Owen and some of the other people from Lake Forest were very involved in lobbying for the housing that went across from the post office, okay, the low-income housing. So we've been involved in that way, lobbying people, and that's how we got to know Pequeño and other people. So, but we don't try to do what's already being done by, say, the people from the Sierra Club, okay? Because they're already doing it. So, well, the group was not involved. And that is an issue that I think the club needs to think about, because how many of you, me included, did not vote for the straight ticket that they gave us on propositions? Okay, all right. So we could leave the propositions off of our list, but if we're going to put them on, we can only put on the approved endorsed list from the state party. Okay, so right, yeah, right, we did, and he went through every one of them. And in fact, he recommended something different than the state party on one of them. Okay, so, it was- yeah. Or less. Yeah, 2 or 3 years. Yeah,
So
3 years.
That if you have an idea and you got people together to form a committee, it's quite possible. You can say that we could form a committee based on that.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, in fact, I have had several conversations with some folks about having a focus group for young people. So you'd have your own group. Yes, sir.
I do appreciate your tracker that you have for 716 days. What I'd like to know is. I do appreciate your 716-day tracker for the next election. What I'm wondering is what's getting done to get more younger voters in this group? And I'd like to see more of the less than 35 days.
Yeah.
I'm Gen X. I'd like to see some millennials.
Yeah.
I'd like to see younger people involved. Has there been any approach to younger students that are like IVC, Saddleback, and things like that?
Okay, this has been a continuing angst for the board of directors and the leaders in the club. We talk about it, we try things, and then we go, we get a really bright person like at Saddleback, and they're gonna form a club, and it's gonna be great. And then they graduate and they go away. Okay, same thing happened at UCI. We gave them a pop-up, we gave them a table, we did all kinds of stuff, and then they go off to graduate school somewhere, okay? So yes, we want to do it. We even had an intern, and we couldn't get him to come to meetings, you know? So if you guys want to take it on, I'm sure the new board would be thrilled. Yes. Stand up. Why don't you just get up and go back and talk to those young people? Do it now. Go talk to them now and get their contact information. You don't need to tell all the old farts. Go talk to them. Go talk to them. Get up. Go. Go. Get back there. Get back there. Gotta remember the numbers.
That's the way you bring all kinds of people, young people, old people, all of whom have special interests.
Right. And there's a bunch of people. We have a Facebook group, which is an informal group, and anybody can join that. So somebody wanted to make an announcement. Go ahead.
Want to, an announcement, an update on Derek.
Fran.
Derek leads by 314 votes. Every day and today, there are 2,320 ballots votes, and Derek got 54.5%, which is 1,266 votes. We show that 1,054 votes. So, as of right now, Derek is 314 over. And we have less than 10,000 ballots.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Barb.
We gotta find a candidate. And, we did a lot of techniques, with meeting voters. We thought we could meet her back then, either, we rallied outside of her office with signs. We interviewed like 5 different candidates that up to the front. And we vetted them all, never taken one yet, and we did a lot of push behind it. So, I mean, what? Oh, yeah, they debated the fact, so we got a lot of attention with that. So, I mean, keep that in the back of your mind. I mean, I don't think we necessarily want to put energy into a lost cause, but, I think we gotta keep that in
Well,
mind.
and we do not know right now what the shape of the future will be. So we should keep all possibilities on the table because, the next 2 years are going to be so damn interesting. Melora? Janet? It's getting too late. What time is it?
They moved it,
Okay. Ted, yes, you're the last person.
This was a great template on how to run an election, what to look for in 26, 28, what happens. And no, you're right, we don't have precise data. What we do know is that something very ominous is coming on January 20th. And that is Trump and his government. I'd like to propose, I don't know how we're gonna do it yet, I've got to think about it, other people have had similar ideas. I need to work with whoever's interested. A rapid response team in response to whatever the Trump government may do. That would be demonstrations such as perhaps in the wood gun, home trees, tablets, what have you.
Okay, well, great suggestion. Janet and the board will discuss all the ideas and decide what to do. Okay, guys. Thank you all for sitting through my diatribe.
You need a second one.